The movement was begun by a scientist who discovered, quite by accident, these signals being sent. Please understand, they are safe as long as they are not discovered.
They want the weapon.
Look out for Charlie.
I want that son of a bitch dead. I want him dead.
Okay, look alive, and let's jump right into this. In my last video, I went over quite a few cases in Michigan, just in Michigan, of people who believed that other people were in their homes when they started hearing it, never seeing it, only hearing it, and they would begin to do more and more crazy things. We know what's going on. The first case that I showed you was just an example. She was not in Michigan. This was Kaylin Louder. She vanished and was found dead later.
They're not talking or responding. I'm just telling them to leave so I can hear them taking things.
So you haven't seen them, you can just hear them?
Yes, correct.
The next case was Adrian Quintal.
This just keeps getting more and more bizarre. That phone call between Quintal and her friend was Quintal telling her friend that she was involved in a shootout.
She must have been terrified in order to shoot.
She ran out of her house and was also later found dead. This is the case of Anthony Sirigliano.
People want to erase me from the face of the earth.
Then there is the case of Jeffrey Thomas, who believed people were in his house.
Our next door neighbor was knocking at the door. We didn't know what was really going on. He was really frantic. He was saying there were armed men in his house with children, and then they were going to shoot.
He heard them in, so he jumped out of a second-story window. The case after that was Monica Kennedy.
Mike Bouchard says Monica had somehow decided people were out to kill her, including sheriff's deputies, and she left her apartment only a mile away from here on foot with the 3 children looking for safety.
So after that, she had left her house in fear and hid in a field, and allegedly the kids and her froze to death and one lived. I also talked about the case of Cullen Finnerty, who was a football player. He heard people following him along the bank of a small lake and was found dead later. So picking up more and more. I was talking about that. One of my viewers, I believe it's Mick Jagger, pointed me to a case in Austin where a guy believed people were in his house. The guy's name was Raj Musingi. If I'm butchering his last name, sorry. He was co-founder of a believe a tech company called InKind, and his area was being broken into. He came home from vacation to find some things were out of place, but nothing was missing. So he ended up going and getting an AR, and then things went totally wrong. And someone called 911 and basically got him executed. This is an edited version of the 911 call. I went and I did an edit, made it shorter, clipped a lot of the bullshit. It's painful to listen to. Not only because of what the guy's saying, but because it drags on and on and on. So I cut it down to some key parts. It is important to pay attention to details in this 911 call. There are a couple things that I'm suspect of, but I'm not going to jump all over it. This could be explained away, and I want you to hear what he tells the 911 operator. Listen to the very beginning. Now they have brought in mental health into 911 calls.
Austin 911, do you need police, fire, EMS, or mental health services?
Police and possibly mental health.
To what address or nearest cross street?
2301 second, or is this third?
Now listen to that. This is a neighbor. The guy lives there. Why doesn't he know what street he's on or what the cross street is?
Second, or is this third? I forget. Fletcher.
You forget.
01 second, or is this third?
He doesn't know what street it is? That's kind of weird, man. That is kind of weird. But we'll keep going.
I forget. Fletcher. Second and Fletcher, I believe. There's a guy on the left side of the duplex, and he is currently running around outside with, I believe, a rifle.
Pay attention to that. He says, I believe a rifle, as though he's not totally sure. All right, pay attention to that.
He's got all of his lights on now. He's standing in the doorway of his house.
Is he pointing, does it look like he's pointing it at anyone?
Currently it's at low ready.
Okay, the 911 operator asks where the rifle is pointed. And he says currently it's low ready. Not a lot of people know that terminology.
Currently, it's at low ready.
Where is this guy coming from? He doesn't know if it's a rifle, for sure. Could have been a broomstick. And then he says that this dude has the rifle positioned at low ready. There's some questions that I have about this.
Low ready.
Is he black, white, Hispanic, Asian?
Looks to be white.
Now, he says in the 911 call, and I took that part out, that he ran into the guy earlier, and the guy had asked him questions. Like, have you seen anybody around here running around? Anybody suspicious, right? And then he tells the 911 operator
looks to be white.
That he looked to be white. This guy is very, very dark. He is very Indian, Eastern Indian. And this guy doesn't know if he's white or Indian, but he ran into him earlier in the day. Now, this is 12:30 at night, so he doesn't know what color he is, but he spoke to this guy already.
It looks like he's currently pointing his rifle at the interior of his home.
This is key. He is pointing the rifle at the interior of his home. Why is that? Says Moon Singhi had reportedly talked earlier with his neighbor across the street. So this guy is across the street that doesn't know what street he lives on, expressing concern that someone might be in his home, and retrieved his rifle as he looked around his property. With his front door open, Musinghi yelled for whoever might be in his home to get out. They don't know what they're talking about here, and I'm going to prove it to you. A few weeks later, Musinghi had purchased an assault rifle to protect himself. Here's where this starts to get very suspect, and I've talked about this before. People have to fill out paperwork for firearms like this. Then, a month, 2 months, few weeks, 4 months, 5 months, whatever, down the road, this kind of stuff begins to happen to them. It's odd, right? Not only has he started a competitive tech firm that certain people aren't going to like, he's also purchased a firearm. Interesting. So now, let's watch the security camera footage from his house.
Yeah.
He is going to start having a conversation. He is not just talking to the people in his house, rhetorically. What is wrong with you people out there? And how can you not tell that this guy is having a heated conversation with someone on the porch? Is the cognitive dissonance so strong that you ignore, giant pieces of evidence to keep your mind safe from anything that your authorities might deem dangerous thinking? What is wrong with you? Listen to what is being said here.
Yeah.
Yep.
You want this? Are you sure?
Are you sure? Listen to it again.
Are you sure? Oh my God, you're fucking stupid. You're fucking stupid.
He is having a conversation with somebody. And what's awesome is, I'm going to prove it to you. That people are being hit with ELF weapons. Nobody is safe from this. And I'm going to tell you why. The signal is everywhere at a low level, just chattering. I have recorded empty houses for 24 hours. I have recorded in the woods for 24 hours. And after examining these recordings, the signal is still there and operating. So if no one is there to hear it, it is still at a low level, chattering. But when people come into the mix, like let's say you're recording a home for 24 hours, and then someone walks into that home, it will get very loud. So I'm going to prove to you that this guy was hit. And for those of you who don't want to accept that these weapons exist, here is one of your beloved TED Talks where Woody Norris talks about these weapons and even goes on to say what you can do with them.
So again, this idea of being able to put sound anywhere you want to is really starting to catch on. We've got the military had just deployed some of these into Iraq, where you can put fake troop movements a quarter of a mile away on a hillside. Or you can whisper in the ear of a supposed terrorist some biblical verse. I'm serious.
You can put troop movements a quarter of a mile away on the hillside. You can whisper in the ear of somebody, a terrorist. Or you can put the sound of people in somebody's house that possibly only they can hear. And it's very easy to do. This signal is everywhere. Nobody is special. Now let's watch the camera footage one more time before we get into the audio evidence. Listen to what he is saying.
Yeah. You want this?
Having a conversation.
Are you sure?
It is obvious that he is not talking rhetorically or just talking. How are people not seeing this? It is madness to me.
Oh my God, you're fucking stupid. You're fucking stupid.
And I'm not going to show where he gets executed. So, here we go. 100% proof that this moon thingy was targeted with RF ELF weapons. Okay, so before he starts talking or saying anything, there is chatter going on. I have isolated some of these. If you are listening on a phone, don't. Use earbuds or speakers or something and have good ears. This is pulse communication. It is always to a beat, a BPM. Sometimes it sounds sing-songy, but the inflection is always weird as it is being projected into the air or at the intended target. So the first line passes here. And it says, "We're gonna take your mother." And then another line comes in here. It is very hard to distinguish what it is saying. But you can hear it. It has this electrostatic-y sound to it. But here is where it gets key. This is right before he starts talking, and a voice comes in here. And it says, "I'm hiding in his closet." I'm hiding in his closet. I'm going to play it a few times. You got to get used to it and listen. And that's where he says,
Yeah.
"Yep.
You want this?
You want this?" The voice says, "I'm hiding in his closet." And then he answers,
Yeah. You want this?
The next voice says something super important. It says he can't pull the trigger. He can't pull the trigger. And then he answers with,
"Are you sure?"
"Are you sure?" So the voice says he can't pull the trigger, like he's a coward. And he says, "Are you sure?" This is right before he fires. These are typical tricks. They constantly tell people that are affected with these weapons that they're going to take people, that they're going to take them, that it's their fault, that we're in your house hiding. And then there's the nonsensical statements or just really lame metaphors. So it starts off right away with, "We're going to take your mother." Then the next voice said, I'm hiding in his closet. Then he can't pull the trigger. The next voice is to rattle him. It's a nonsensical insult. Okay? Listen. What it says is, this guy's F-A-G-G-Y. Can't really say it on YouTube anymore, but it rhymes with baggy. This guy's baggy, but with an F. And then he says, you're so stupid. Like, what are you talking about?
Oh my God, you're fucking stupid. You're fucking stupid.
So that is what he is answering to. You just cannot hear it on the camera. So it seems like he is talking to himself, and he is not.
Oh my God, you're fucking stupid. You're fucking stupid.
Okay, this is one of the most important ones, and you can see what is going on. This line right here, it says, he wants him dead. Flat out, he wants him dead. He wants him dead. He wants him dead. And then he immediately fires into his house. So he hears, he wants him dead, and he fires. I'm going to play it again. Almost sounds like an old Speak and Spell or a Commodore 64 speech modulator. He wants him dead. So it is pushing him the whole time. Moonsingi was hit with RF, ELF weapons. First line is, we're going to take your mother. And then the next line is, I'm hiding in his closet. You might almost hear a Y at the end of that, but it's not. It's another frequency that came in. It says, I'm hiding in his closet. Then he answers it. This is where he begins to speak.
Yeah. You want this?
Then they taunt him with the trigger comment. He can't pull the trigger.
Are you sure?
Then this guy's baggy with an F.
Oh my God, you're fucking stupid. You're fucking stupid.
Then the next one, he wants him dead. He wants him dead. And then he fires. Moonsingi is 100% hit with these weapons. Another case of these people believing that somebody was in their house. This has got to stop. People need to know about this. Share this as far as you can, and we can up the mass awareness of these weapons being used. He wants him dead. And then he fires. And that's it for now. Look out for Charlie.
I don't like the world now. I mean, before I always knew I was a son of a bitch. But now I'm the only son of a bitch I know. Hey, make way for a real human being. Get out of the way, yeah.
Look out for Charlie.
I want that son of a bitch dead. I want him dead.